Good morning. I have analyzed my videos and it would be easy for me to get more views and have a growing channel if I would recreate that narration that the algorithm and the hive wants from me. We could already use artificial intelligences to scan the online market, the YouTube community, the whole YouTube community, for narrative demands. So there is groups of people that consume a narration that they identify with, and artificial intelligences could scan different spectrums of narrations, and within the spectrum different, more detailed versions of these narrations. So in my case, if I would make videos about the intuitive introvert or a certain form of narcissistic abuse and frame it in a certain way, use certain buzzwords, narrations, talking about karma and concepts like this, this shows us what people are looking for, what kind of narration, what they need at the moment. And if we would use this, if we would use a schematic artificial intelligence, kind of scanning the whole market and finding out what patterns are the most searched after, we could create a kind of diagnosis for the whole online world. Yeah. So, in other words, let me make a quick switch with you. I'm changing perspectives quickly. This is something I learned from Nietzsche. I can't compare myself to Nietzsche because when you read Nietzsche's books, he switches perspectives in a way, it's breathtaking sometimes. Okay, anyway, now I go on the individual level now. Why did I start this channel? See, as a human being, we do things, we just do things for we have hidden drives, we have drives. We are not super conscious, very informed, decision-making machines. You know, questions like the free will are very, are not completely, explored. So when I make a decision, before I make the conscious decision, a neural scientist could already can already measure a potential that predicts what I'm gonna do. So there is an unconscious decision before I make the conscious decision, and then my brain suggests to me that this is my free will, but it's not. It was already there before I knew it anyway. So we just do things in life, and then after we do them, we get, our brain thinks, okay, this was my free will, my informed decision, and then we create a narration, I did this because. But this is coming later, it's after it. And then we can go deeper and start to psychoanalyze ourselves. We can kind of make a speech pattern or a narrative analysis. So we check out the narration we have for why we did what we did, and therefore we find out potential weaknesses or shadow. Again, we can find out about our shadow, because if I picture myself as a victim, and I adopt victimhood mentality. Um, I could analyze it in terms of Carl Gustav Jung's psychology, Nietzsche's philosophy and psychology, whether it's slave moral, the will to power. Um, yeah, so we have many ways. I mean, there's tons of videos about this stuff to analyze it then and find a deeper clue. And this is where it gets interesting, of course, because if I narrate what I do, um, you know, it could be a defensive reaction, it could be whatever, but it's just the thing that everybody sees is the evident layer of it. I do something for some reason, nobody knows why, not even me. Then I create a narration, and this tells much more, but the subtext of the narration creates much more or tells much more, and so on. So there are deeper layers, and this is where it gets interesting. There's space for interpretation, just like in a poem, because also a human being is not a linear, logical being. We are deeply not logic, we are multi layered. Um, yeah, also, yeah, and also our understanding of cause and action as this chain of logical cause and action is also not useful to understand human beings. Um, yeah, so I try to come to the point now. I think first of all, I get there. Um, my channel is not clear. I use it as a part of a diary. I use it to speak political discussions. I use it to speak about society, about psychology of individuals. We talk about pathologic psychology, about uh, different fields of psychology, about philosophy. So my channel is multi-purposed and multi-layered. I have not narrowed down like, I could create a channel that is only working through Nietzsche's work, that is only working through Carl Gustav Jung's work. Um, but I just do whatever I want, and it changes. Okay, so I think my initial, as far as I can narrow down, why did I do this? Is because I was really going through an existential threat. So I was not a person that is looking for an online presence. Why? Because I was living my life, but I lost the life I lived. So I, and this is now my narration, in my opinion, I was forced out of my family unit where I lived, and this created, and I lost all my property, all my money, access to my money, against my will, of course. So I was kind of cancelled. I call this coercive control pattern, and I could, or I can prove that also, but coercive control is not a crime where I live. And this creates an existential threat to a human being. Um, Therefore, I thought, if I die now, because it's dangerous what happens to me, or you can randomly die anytime, the world will just turn on and the narrative will be created by those who um, discarded me, basically. And my view about this, my identity will be completely forgotten. So I did something very questionable actually. I uploaded myself, so to speak, or I created a narrative because everything is a narrative. Everything we can speak of is a narrative. It's not the pure truth. So yeah, I kind of uploaded myself, parts of my mind, of my thoughts, chains of thoughts. And yeah, this is what a diary is, right? This is a diary. But to make an online diary is different than writing a diary for yourself. Yeah, so I had the fear of being forgotten, and also that my children never hear the story the way it is in my point of view. But this fear is already, I think, it worked to a certain degree, so I don't have to have this fear because I have largely documented my point of view, not only here now. Yeah, I'm not here to create now a finished new message or product with this what I say. I just recently watched again Sam Vaknin video about this topic of online presence and social media. Yeah, so um, I think what I do in my channel too is um, I document as authentic as possible, and 100% authenticity is not possible online. It's never possible. Everything can be fake, um, and being too authentic or 100% real in front of a camera is also, I think, not right. The same way as self-analyzing too much is also not um, necessarily healthy. It can be, you can pathologize everything and overanalyze everything. So yeah, I think what I also want to do on my channel is not only document my life and use it as a diary, but also there might be people who are in some way inspired of this. And this goes, by the way, to the original idea of the social media on the internet. According to Sam Wagner, it was a good idea. It was the idea to create a village, to get out of the anonymous city and have kind of social contacts. And yeah, the idea of social media was to have exchange of information and experiences and find peers. So something like a village. Yeah, but obviously, because it is all monetized and governed by an algorithm that is arguably rather serving not necessarily the wisdom of the masses or enabling swarm intelligence, but rather cater to any needs. And in a sick society, there are a lot of sick needs. So I'm not going down this rabbit hole too deep. But I think you know what I'm trying to express. So the idea of social media is very questionable, and as there might be more healthy ways to use it, and you know better and worse ways. But yeah, it's a very controversial topic, and it backfired, and it costs a lot of mental health for a lot of people, so to speak, because yeah, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Why we have all the problems with it. So yeah, I see chances in it and dangers, light and darkness. But yeah, probably there's more darkness and downsides to it. Yeah, I'm in a constant reflection, and it is very important to stay with oneself, be alone, isolated of all social media influence or internet presence. It is very important to be connected to nature, as pseudo esoteric or pseudo spiritual as that sounds. You know, this grounding, walking with bare feet, blah, 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 blah. No, it's very important to be, to fall back onto the pure human experience. And yeah, and the human is a concept and an invention. We are animals. We are animals. So anyway, just another video, another narration. Yeah, I want to leave it here.